Lady Scorpion, and today we are going to be doing another guide in Final Fantasy XIV on how to tank properly. Tanking is fairly easy. Once you get into it, once you get the groove, once you get the rotation, and you kind of just get how it goes, it's fairly easy and fairly straightforward and very simple. The first thing that we want to talk about to becoming a tank is Imity. Imity is basically aggro. It's a mob's internal counter to determine which party member to attack, based on how much damage or healing each party member has done. So, Imity is something that you want to make sure you are doing. You want to make sure your Imity is very high, and I will help you to achieve this if you are a new tank and this is something new to you. One of the ways to make sure that you are producing enough Imity so you keep your party members safe, because that is your main goal, that is your main duty as a tank. You need to make sure that you're going in there and you are taking all the hits and your party members are safe and protected. So in order to have all the Imity on you, there's a few things that you can do. I am on my Marauder currently. Right now, my Marauder, which turns into a Warrior, and then you have Gladiator, which turns into a Paladin. And to me, in my honest opinion, those two are the easiest. I do prefer my Marauder, and the reason why I prefer my Marauder is because my Marauder is kind of more like Berserker Rage, roar, running in there and getting the job done. He's more of kind of like a tank slash DPS. He does a lot more damage than any of the other tanks, if that makes sense. But to me, the Gladiator, which turns into a Paladin at level 30, and then the Marauder, which turns into a Warrior at level 30, are the two easiest tanks so far in this game that I have played, in my honest opinion. So if you're looking for like an easier to learn type of tank, I would definitely start with one of those two. But let's get back to the subject of Imity. Your aggro. Final Fantasy made this pretty simple, pretty easy. To make sure that you have aggro on you at all times, you're going to want to use, it's called Defiance. And you'll know your Defiance is active by this gauge right over here. See how it's red? That means your Defiance is active, and that means you are increasing Imity generation. And that's a good thing. You want that always on. If you're doing a dungeon, if you're doing a trial, if you're doing anything with a group, make sure that is on, because if it's not on, your group is going to be pretty upset with you. They're going to tell you, turn Defiance on, because we're taking all the hits and we're not supposed to be doing that. That is your job, not our job. So here we go. We're going to turn it off so you can actually see there's no red there. There's nothing red. There's nothing glowing, right? So you are not producing Imity. You are not producing your aggro that you're supposed to be producing. All you have to do is click this once, and it's on. You click it again, it's off. So don't click it again. All you have to do is click it once, and your Imity is on. Plain and simple. Next up is your Provoke. You're going to want to use your Provoke. Another good one is Berserk. Berserk, what that's going to do is that is going to guarantee that all of your attacks are critical and direct hits. It only lasts for 10 seconds, but pop that sucker when you need it. Rampart is another great ability that you're going to want to use as a tank, because basically what Rampart is going to do is it is going to reduce all of your damage taken by 20%. It lasts for 20 seconds, but if you need it, if you see that your health is getting a little bit low and you want to pop that because maybe your healer is running low on MP and can't heal you at that specific moment, that's going to be a great lifesaver for your healer and yourself. It's a great ability to use. Also, Heavy Swing and Maim. Great abilities. I use those two quite a lot when I'm attacking. Overpower is an AoE, and that's going to pull all the targets in toward you. I would say spam this, because this is amazing. You're going to want to spam it on enemies 3 or more. It's a great ability. It will put all the aggro on you if it's not on you. So those are the simple ways to tank. That's basically how it is. I'm not going to get into all these because I just want this to be a simple guide. I don't want this to be like crazy or in-depth right now. We will get more to the crazy in-depth stuff and we'll talk about all the other abilities that you can use. And like I said, always make sure your Defiance is up. Always make sure that your gauge over here is red. Alright, so other pointers. Obviously, as a tank, it is your duty, it is your job to pull as much as you can. So that way, your other party members do not get attacked. Pull as much as you can, make sure you keep all the aggro on you. Now, only pull what you're comfortable with. If you're only comfortable with dealing with maybe 5 mobs at once, that's fine. If you can handle 10 mobs at once, that's great. But only pull with what you're comfortable with, especially starting out as a new tank. Maybe start low and work your way up. And then just keep going from there, and that's how you're going to get better. Now, there's a lot of trial and error, and that's what makes you better. So if you die, don't give up. Don't get discouraged. Don't be like, oh, I'm a really crappy tank. I probably should stop tanking. No, that's how we learn, and that's how we move forward. And don't listen to anybody if they're negative and telling you you're not doing a great job at tanking. You know, you can always be like, listen, I'm new to tanking. This is a learning experience for me, and I need to learn to get better. And there's only one way to do it is by diving right on in and just doing it. Don't be afraid. Just dive right on in and do something that you think you are going to love. Now, if you absolutely hate it, you can back out and you don't need to be a tank. But if it's something that you want to do and you always dreamed of being a tank but you were afraid, just do it. Trust me. You will thank yourself in the end if you do it, and you just learn from it. It'll be great. We're going to talk about positioning, because as a tank, it is important that you position right when tanking a boss. You want to position so the boss, its rear and its flank are both available to your DPS and your healers. And we're going to talk about the rear and the flank, because I know not everybody knows what's rear and what's flank. Rear is pretty simple. Most people do know what rear is, but flanks, some people get confused with. So when we go and we click this, obviously this arrow right here pointing toward me is the front. This open space back here is the rear. And the two sides are the flank. So when I'm fighting a boss as a tank, what I like to do is take this arrow and make sure this arrow is facing back here. And my party members are in front of me right out here. So they can attack basically the rear and the flanks. And also too, it helps keeps your party members protected. So if you're back here and the front is facing you and your party members are out in front of you here, when that boss goes to do an attack, they're gonna be safe because they're out of that way, besides the ones that are up on the flank. But DPSs that are ranged and healers that are ranged, they're not gonna have a problem. They're gonna be able to stay right in their position, because their position is important as well. But you want to make sure you take the boss and you face it away from your party members, so that way they can hit the flank and the rears. Now, tank DPS rotations are pretty simple, but you just gotta make sure you grasp the basics. So make sure you are creating your immunity. Make sure you have aggro on you at all times, and you should be good, because your healer, their job is to help keep you alive. And like I said, say your health is getting low and your healer isn't healing you because maybe they ran out of MP, you're going to want to pop Rampart, because it's going to help by reducing that damage taken by 20%. You're going to want to pop that. So those, you're going to want to do that. Just that's a great ability. But like I said, always make sure your Defiance is up and running. Always make sure you can provoke when you can provoke. And if you need to get 3 or more enemies on you, please use Overpower, because that is a great ability and it works very, very well. Something you're going to want to do. And that's basically about it. That is the basics of how to tank. It's the simple basics. I'm not going too in depth on how to tank, but it's going to give you a little overview on how to tank, or how to be a better tank, in case if you're like, am I doing this right? I have questions. I don't know if I'm actually going in there and being the best tank that I can possibly be. If you're doing what I said, you are. Trust me. And that's all trial and error. Get in there, learn, and have a good time. Have fun. That's what matters at the end of the day. You know, you don't need to strive for perfection. Just be the best that you can be when you get in there and laugh and have a good time. And it's always nice, too, to let people know, you know, when you're starting a dungeon or a trial or doing any activity with a group, or you're doing a group finder that doesn't know, or a party finder, let them know in advance, hey, this is my first time tanking. Any pointers would be greatly appreciated in case I'm doing something wrong. You learn by criticism. You learn by people telling you, hey, listen, you need to do this. This is what you're supposed to do as a tank. Because like I said, your number one duty and job as a tank is to take all the hits. That's what you're made for. That's what your armor is made for. And to ensure that everybody in your party is safe and is not getting hit. And as long as you're doing that, you are a good tank. Trust me. There's many other things that you need to learn and you need to know, but really all you need to know is the simple basics to get you through, and you'll learn the rest as you go. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Lady Scorpion out, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!